opened the East Stand when it was built at about 2 weeks' notice because they'd been let down. I can't remember who by.
They opened the East Stand with just about 2 weeks' notice because they'd been let down, though I can't remember by whom. As it happened, the horse was lame, so I wasn't competing that weekend. So, I went, and about a month later, they wrote to ask if I'd like to become patron. The royal family is in chaos at Balmoral Castle. Prince William holds back tears as Princess Anne reads King Charles's final wish, a shocking decision that could change everything. Whispers spread throughout the palace about William stepping up earlier than expected and the uncertainty of Catherine's future. Tension grows. Will Camilla accept losing power? Can William honor his father's last wish while staying true to his own vision for the crown? Join us as we uncover what Princess Anne announced that made it hard for the prince to hold back his tears. The king's final wish was revealed on a warm summer afternoon at Balmoral Castle. The grand Scottish estate, known for its towering stone walls and peaceful isolation, had long been a royal retreat. But this time, it became the setting for news that would shake the monarchy. One by one, black cars made their way up the long driveway. Inside the castle, staff members watched from windows, whispering among themselves. It was rare for the entire family to be called together so urgently. Even Princess Catherine, usually poised and smiling, appeared unusually serious as she stepped out of her car. She carried news that would change everything. Inside the meeting room, the family gathered around a massive oak table. Paintings of past kings and queens lined the walls, their watchful eyes frozen in time. The room fell silent as everyone took their seats, unsure of what was about to be said. Princess Catherine stood, her hands trembling slightly. She had kept the secret for months, waiting for the right time. Now, with every gaze fixed on her, she finally spoke. She revealed Queen Elizabeth II's final wish, a wish the late Queen had shared only with those closest to her before she passed. The news was stunning. Queen Elizabeth had wanted Catherine to one day rule as queen in her own right, not just as the wife of King William, but as the reigning monarch. The room filled with stunned whispers. This was not the future anyone had expected. For centuries, the crown had passed from king to son, or, in rare cases, to a daughter when there was no male heir. The royal family had worked hard to make Kate feel welcomed. William wasn't going to take any chances, and he adores the Middletons. Traditionally, any woman who married into the royal family received the title of queen consort, standing beside the king but never ruling. Queen Elizabeth's final wish upended this precedent. King Charles III, already struggling with health issues, sat in shock. His mother's decision shook the very foundation of his reign. The future he had carefully built now seemed uncertain. His face grew pale as he tried to grasp what this meant for the monarchy. Queen Camilla remained still in her chair. She had worked for years to gain the public's acceptance, overcoming the shadows of the past. At last, she had secured her place as queen consort. But this revelation implied that even Queen Elizabeth had never seen her role as permanent, just a stepping stone until the crown passed to Catherine. The younger royals exchanged uneasy glances. Prince William turned toward his wife, his expression unreadable. Had she known about this all along? Princess Anne, always practical, immediately considered the legal implications. Prince Edward and Sophie whispered to each other, trying to understand what this could mean. Outside the meeting room, royal staff could hear tense voices rising and falling. The discussion dragged on for hours. Some supported the idea, noting Catherine's widespread public admiration. Others resisted, fearing that such a drastic change could threaten the monarchy's stability. By evening, the family finally emerged, faces drawn and weary. Nothing had been decided. The revelation had stirred deep tensions and exposed fractures that would not easily heal. In the days that followed, discreet calls moved between royal households. Behind closed doors, lawyers and constitutional experts were consulted. The palace press office drafted statements for every possible outcome, yet none were released. The Queen's final wish remained, casting a long shadow over the future of the monarchy. It was a closely guarded secret, but the impact rippled far beyond just Camilla and Catherine. From across the ocean, Prince Harry and Meghan watched with concern, wondering how this revelation might shift their children's place in the line of succession. Princess Beatrice and Eugenie questioned what this meant for their own roles within the royal family. Even Lady Louise Windsor and James, who rarely found themselves in the spotlight, were now part of the growing uncertainty. In London, life carried on as usual. People walked past Buckingham Palace, snapping photos and waving at passing royal cars. No one outside the palace walls had any idea of the storm brewing within. The royal family was facing a crisis that could redefine its very future. At Balmoral, one thing became clear to everyone present: the monarchy would never be the same again. Queen Elizabeth's final wish had set a chain of events in motion that no one had anticipated. The family now stood at a crossroads, caught between tradition and change. The greatest threat to the crown wasn't an external one, it came from the tensions growing within its own walls. As the royal family wrestled with these new tensions, an even heavier concern loomed above them all: would King Charles live long enough to see his mother's wish come true? The clock was ticking. Morning sunlight streamed through the tall windows of Clarence House as King Charles sat at his desk, reviewing state papers. His hand trembled slightly as he reached for his pen, a small sign of the much larger battle raging inside him. At 76 years old, the king now faced an enemy no crown could command: cancer. The diagnosis had come in February 2024. Doctors had delivered the news with serious expressions. At first, the palace had kept the details private, merely stating that the king had cancer and would begin treatment immediately. The public message was hopeful, but behind palace doors, the reality was far more troubling. On a Thursday morning in April, the king felt that something was wrong. His treatment had begun to cause side effects that alarmed his medical team. Plans shifted quickly. Phone calls flew between staff as the king was rushed to the London Clinic, a private hospital often used by the rich and powerful. That same day, the streets of London carried on in normal fashion. Tourists continued taking pictures outside Buckingham Palace, office workers hurried along to meetings. Few knew that, inside a nearby hospital room, medical professionals were working diligently to help the king cope with treatment complications. That evening, Charles returned to Clarence House and had dinner with Queen Camilla as though everything were normal. But by the next morning, his scheduled visit to Birmingham had been suddenly cancelled. The palace released a carefully worded statement, citing doctors' advice and side effects of treatment. It offered just enough information to acknowledge something without revealing too much. Since the diagnosis, the king's day-to-day life has changed significantly. Before cancer, he worked from early morning until late at night, reading government documents, meeting with charities, and attending public engagements. Now, the signature red boxes filled with official papers arrive less frequently. His schedule, once tightly packed with royal duties, now had long, empty stretches. Palace staff noticed other subtle changes too. The king, once brimming with energy and constantly speaking about environmental concerns or urban planning, had become more selective. He now chose tasks carefully, focusing only on what mattered most to conserve his strength. The castle halls, once echoing with his brisk steps and lively discussions, had grown quiet. In the royal family, health matters have rarely been openly discussed. Queen Elizabeth II never spoke of her medical conditions. Even during her final months, as walking became more difficult, palace statements remained brief and optimistic. King Charles, however, chose a different approach. Rather than keeping his illness entirely private, he disclosed that he had cancer, though he refrained from specifying the type. His doctors believed that his honesty could inspire others to seek medical attention, and it did. Thousands of people began checking symptoms or booking screenings after the news broke. Despite his struggles, Charles remained committed to some royal duties. He appeared at Easter services, smiling at the crowds, though his face had visibly thinned. He visited a cancer treatment center alongside Queen Camilla, speaking with patients who were fighting the same battle. At the army. At the barracks in Hampshire, King Charles spoke with soldiers, making light-hearted comments about being let out of his cage, proof that his sense of humor remained intact even in difficult times. His treatments continued through spring and summer, with some days easier than others. Palace staff learned to read the subtle signs. If he wore a certain tie or requested specific meals, they knew he was feeling stronger. When meetings were suddenly rescheduled or the royal doctor appeared unexpectedly, they understood the king needed rest. The king's illness added to the stress already weighing on the royal family. Prince William took on more responsibilities while quietly worrying about his father. Princess Anne attended public events in his place, ensuring royal duties continued without disruption. Even Prince Harry, despite past tensions, remained in contact, checking in on his father's health. Time moved forward, and King Charles III remained on the throne. Yet behind the closed doors of palaces and royal estates across Britain, quiet preparations began for the future. As King Charles battled his health challenges, all eyes turned to Prince William. How was he preparing for a future that seemed to be arriving faster than anyone had expected? The weight of the crown is immense. Being a future king is not about power or privilege, it comes with lifelong responsibilities. Prince William, next in line to the throne, understands this more deeply than anyone. As his father focuses on his health, William's role in the royal family has grown considerably. Tasks that once seemed far away have now become part of his everyday reality, and he is stepping up to meet them. William's life has long prepared him for this role. Unlike earlier heirs who followed rigid royal routines, his upbringing blended tradition with real-world experience. He attended Eton College, then studied at St. Andrews University, receiving a strong academic foundation. Later, he served as a search and rescue pilot in the Royal Air Force, a job that allowed him to make a real difference in people's lives. Through it all, he has worked to build a life centered not only on duty but also on family. These unique experiences have shaped William into the leader he is today, someone who understands the burden of responsibility but also values balance and connection to ordinary life. As the future king, William has learned how to navigate royal challenges while staying connected to the world beyond the palace gates. But the pressure continues to mount. With his father stepping back due to illness, William has assumed more royal duties than ever before. He now attends major state events, holds private meetings with government leaders, and oversees key responsibilities. His role in the Duchy of Cornwall, an estate that funds much of the royal family's activities, is no longer symbolic. He now makes meaningful decisions that impact both the monarchy's finances and public image. This shift comes at a time of significant change for the royal family. Public sentiment isn't what it once was, particularly among younger generations who question the monarchy's relevance. William is caught between upholding centuries of tradition and responding to a modern world that demands transparency and relatability. He has embraced this challenge, focusing on causes such as mental health, climate change, and homelessness. Through these efforts, he is crafting a new vision of what a modern monarch should represent. Despite his dedication, William faces constant scrutiny. Every move he makes is watched, judged, praised, or criticized. His strained relationship with Prince Harry remains a constant media focus, fueling speculation and public debate. Behind closed doors, he must juggle these external pressures with the internal need to maintain family unity. At home, he takes his role as a husband and father seriously. Unlike past heirs who prioritize duty above all, William ensures he makes time for Catherine and their 3 children. Balancing royal obligations with family life is no easy feat, especially as expectations continue to rise. His approach marks a shift in how the monarchy operates, toward a leadership style that feels more personal and emotionally connected to everyday people. Inside palace walls, advisors and officials are well aware of how vital a smooth transition will be. The British monarchy has survived for centuries through a blend of tradition and adaptability. In recent years, William's training has intensified, preparing him to lead at a moment's notice. He is now fully briefed on state affairs, foreign policy, and military operations, ensuring that when the time comes, he will be ready. Despite the mounting pressure, William remains calm and focused. He understands what is expected of him and accepts the enormous responsibility that lies ahead. The future of the monarchy depends on his ability to lead with confidence, good judgment, and adaptability to changing times will determine the monarchy's future. People everywhere are paying attention, fully aware that they are witnessing a significant moment in history. As William takes on more royal duties, another challenge emerges: how will Queen Camilla's role evolve amid growing uncertainty? Queen Camilla's future in question. For years, Queen Camilla worked tirelessly to reshape public perception. She entered royal life with a complicated history, but over time, she gained acceptance and became a key figure at King Charles's side. With his full support, she embraced her role as queen consort, standing beside him as one of his closest advisors. However, recent revelations have cast doubt on her future in the royal family. A detail related to Queen Elizabeth's final wishes has shaken the stability Camilla worked so hard to achieve. The late Queen had publicly given her blessing for Camilla to be called Queen Consort, acknowledging her place beside Charles. But it has since been revealed that Queen Elizabeth may have envisioned a different future, one where Catherine, the Princess of Wales, would step into a more prominent leadership role. This revelation has stirred questions about Camilla's long-term position in the royal structure. Despite her title, her role now appears less secure than it once did. The monarchy, rooted in tradition, has always been carefully shaped by leaders like Queen Elizabeth, whose guidance extended beyond her reign. By calling Camilla Queen Consort, Elizabeth acknowledged her support role beside the king without granting her ruling power. But this new information suggests Elizabeth may have quietly hoped for Catherine to ascend in influence, not just as a consort, but potentially as a queen with more authority. This has introduced new tension between Camilla and Catherine, placing the royal family in a delicate position. Camilla had worked hard to move past her controversial beginnings. Her earlier relationship with Charles stirred scandal, and public approval was slow to come. Over the years, she transformed her image, engaged in charitable work, and established herself as a loyal supporter of the king. She became seen as a steady presence, a trusted royal and advisor. Yet with the idea of Catherine taking on greater leadership, Camilla's position is being questioned once again. Amid this period of change, King Charles has aimed to maintain stability, and Camilla has been instrumental in that effort. She helps keep the king grounded, offering both personal and strategic guidance. Her regular presence at major royal events has solidified her status. But the recent revelations threaten that sense of stability. Public opinion plays a vital role in shaping royal dynamics. Though Camilla has gained more acceptance over time, Catherine continues to be the most admired royal after Queen Elizabeth. She has earned a strong reputation, blending royal tradition with modern sensibilities. If Catherine is indeed being positioned for a larger leadership role, it could shift the internal balance of power. Public response to such a change may influence decisions made privately within the palace. Beyond the family dynamics, this situation highlights a broader issue facing the monarchy: the need for clarity in succession and public trust. Any ambiguity in roles during a time of transition can create instability. As Charles continues his reign, he must manage these emerging tensions and ensure that the royal family appears united in the public eye. Camilla's future now depends on how events unfold. If King Charles continues to support her as queen consort, she may maintain her role without disruption. But if momentum grows behind Catherine's elevation, Camilla could find herself gradually edged out. With her future uncertain, the monarchy faces a pivotal decision, one that will shape its next chapter. The British royal family now stands at a crossroads, navigating one of the most challenging periods in its recent history. The British monarchy is facing one of its most uncertain periods in recent history. With King Charles managing health issues and ongoing family tensions, the future of the royal family feels increasingly fragile. Although the line of succession is clearly defined, Prince William followed by his children Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, the path ahead is far from simple. The decisions made now will shape the monarchy for years to come. As circumstances evolve rapidly, a smooth transition of power becomes essential. If King Charles's health worsens, William may need to assume more responsibilities sooner than anticipated. Adding to the complexity, there is growing speculation about Catherine possibly becoming a reigning queen, a shift that would mark a significant departure from royal tradition. Inside the palace, King Charles relies on a small circle of trusted advisors to navigate these turbulent times. Among them, Sir Clive Alderton, the King's principal private secretary, plays a vital role. He helps guide important decisions and ensures they align with the monarchy's long-term vision. Additionally, he is instrumental in managing the royal family's public image, which has never been under more scrutiny. Meanwhile, Prince William and Princess Catherine are working hard to modernize their roles. While upholding traditional royal values, they prioritize contemporary issues like social causes, environmental protection, and mental health awareness. Their communication style has also evolved. They present themselves as approachable and engaged rather than focusing solely on royal glamour. This approach aims to keep the monarchy relevant in the modern world. One of the most persistent challenges remains the strained relationship between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and the rest of the royal family. The unresolved rift between the brothers continues to attract intense public attention. William and Catherine stay committed to their royal duties, but the distance between them and Harry appears to be widening. How this situation is handled will significantly influence the public's perception of the royal family's unity and stability. King Charles has also taken a new approach to royal health matters. Unlike monarchs of the past who kept their medical conditions private, Charles has been open about his cancer treatment. This openness signals a possible shift in how the royal family engages with the public. The way people respond to this transparency could shape how health issues are communicated in the future. At 76 years old, King Charles faces the dual challenge of maintaining the monarchy's stability while preparing it for the future. His reign comes at a time when the royal family must carefully balance tradition with modern expectations. Some believe the monarchy needs to evolve to remain relevant, while others fear that too much change could weaken its foundation. The choices made now will impact the institution for generations. Beyond the UK, the monarchy must also consider its role within the Commonwealth. Several countries still recognise the British monarch as their head of state, but that is starting to change. For instance, Barbados recently removed the British monarch from that position, and other nations may follow. How the royal family responds to these developments will influence its global standing and long-term influence. As the monarchy looks ahead, it is clear that major challenges lie in its path. It must honor the traditions that define it while adapting to a changing world. It must earn and maintain public trust while managing internal family struggles. The involvement of younger royals like William and Catherine will be crucial in shaping the next phase of the monarchy. The decisions made in the coming years will determine the British royal family's direction. My lords and members of the House of Commons, the pressing question remains, will the royal family evolve with the times, or risk losing its influence as change accelerates and tensions mount? Who will lead the British crown into the future, and what will it take? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more royal updates. And click on the next video showing on your screen, you're sure to enjoy it.